Speaking of kids and things you shouldn't fucking do, let's talk about Assassin's Pride. That's show one today, kids. It's Assassin's Pride, which came
So
out, by the way, way more recently than I thought. Like, I thought this was hot on the heels of Eromanga Sensei for reasons that will become apparent. But
no, this is just like last year, perhaps the year before. Honestly, I feel like we're a little bit late to the game on this one because all the various anime personalities on YouTube and Twitter and such have already had their hot takes about this show. But I wanted mine.
it's always fun to get your turn at the local punching bag, or in mixed martial arts they call a match that you're guaranteed to win easily a jobber, if you will. They call them a can.
A can? Okay.
Yeah,
Like
and
you
things
have
have
this
been
in the
very
can?
positive on this programming. So I thought, what if I just opened up two real nutritious protein-full cans?
The second one's gonna be Big Order, and what I appreciate about these two shows is that they are very, very different shows that are nonetheless equally bad.
It's kind of interesting
And
that they
provoke
are
somewhat
both
the same reaction.
as trend-chasing as they are, and you would call them both action fantasies, but they are very different beasts of.
I mean, for starters, they are chasing the coattails of two different things. This, for instance, is chasing the coattails equally of, I want to say, Sword Art Online, which continues to be the fucking serpent in the Garden of Eden of, like, shitty anime in the 2010s.
It's not the serpent in the garden because we didn't fucking learn anything. It made us dumber. We forgot shit.
I would argue that we didn't learn anything then either.
We learned shame. And if we learned shame, then this show wouldn't be half comprised of ass shots of prepubescence.
Oh yeah, no, total pedobait show. That's like a thing with this. It's felt dirtier than usual watching it. Usually, at the very least, all the fucking cheesecake I have to sit through is of 17-year-old girls, which is I guess slightly less illegal than this. But no, so that's the other part. That's the Mahu Sensei Nagima,
Yep.
In this thing's influence. I think like Ken Akamatsu is also to blame for this somewhat.
In terms of other franchises, moving parts, I think there's a large Black Butler influence on this. For those of you who never heard of Black Butler, this was a middling show about a kid with a butler that was also a demon. I think the whole show exists because someone thought of the pun, I'm a hell of a butler. At least it's the English version of the pun. The Japanese version is like some kind of play on butler being spelt like demon, whatever. But
wait, no, you didn't just come up with that's actually like a thing in
that's
the
a
show?
thing. In the dub, it's I'm a hell of a butler. And in
okay.
In Japanese, it's like this
Okay, that's like
slightly better pun, but still awful. And the whole show basically exists because of that.
That's great. I was about to almost say fair's fair on Black Butler, because at least in Black Butler the kid did something. Here the kid is just a fucking weepy Mobla.
Moblob might not be fair because she is way more discomfortingly detailed and sexualized than that.
It's true. Yeah, the
there are
idea
angles
with
and
the
there
character
should not
designs. The deal with the character designs of the female characters on this show is not it's not cute girls doing cute things. It's the other thing that makes you feel like you're committing a misdemeanor, at least by watching this show.
Oh, it's a hard ass felony. I'm gonna start with a little more broad context. Like we gave some broad shots, but just a little conceptual summary, just to.
Oh yeah, and I actually feel like I'm selling the premise of this thing short because it's fucking stupid in a very entertaining way. Like, this is criminally dumb. Go ahead.
So we're in a world where the last thing that exists is a vaguely Renaissance city-state called. It has Flan in it. I think it's Flandore. I don't care. The point is that there's only one city left, sort of post-medieval level technology.
And it exists in, like, it looks like a big candelabrum floating above a weird desecrated wasteland. I'm gonna go to the fucking Wikipedia page.
You ever seen bad Bloodborne fan art?
Yeah,
a lot of it's aesthetically it's not like that. Like someone who's only watched Nagima draws Bloodborne fan art, and that's what the city looks like. So we follow this guy named Kufa Vampire, a
And
man
that's his
who,
actual fucking name.
yeah, yeah, it is his actual name. After I heard his fucking name, we actually had to pause the show because I spent, I want to say a solid 2.5 minutes laughing, which would be greatly to its credit if it was a comedy. Like, that would bring it into fucking, maybe not prison school, but like a Zetsubo Sensei kind of tier.
I remember that was definitely the most entertained I was at any point in watching this show, was learning this motherfucking asshole's name. And the second most entertained I was learning the name of his charge, the 13-year-old that he's been sent to train or something like that, and her name is Melita Angel. So like, get it?
Yeah, we are sitting on the nose until it breaks. Like, the nose needs reconstructive plastic surgery on this show. Alright, so this guy's whole bit, per title, is that he is an assassin, which has, in the drift of time and Ubisoft games, just become a word for cool guy.
Fighting guy.
And
Fighting guy. Maybe they fight a little bit more up close than others, and that's it's been the term has been diluted, shall we say?
Yeah. So he's supposed to supervise and, under certain conditions, kill off this 13-year-old, which, you think that'd take you like a weekend, maybe you case the joint, Hitman, Shadow, whatever style.
I think, okay, so here's what I gathered the premise is. The idea is that Melita Angel is the scion of this fairly powerful family in all of these domed cities with trains and shit. I don't know. It's a very confused
Oh yes,
setting.
indeed. Dynastic politics. There's a thing that things do where they like hint towards the existence of sort of dynastic feudal power struggle, but they just do not feel like putting in any of the work of doing that J.R.R. Martin shit where you
do not
sketch
feel
these out.
like or intellectually incapable of, because I feel like it might edge towards the latter. And so his whole thing is that he's supposed to train this girl to be good at mana, because they couldn't just fucking call it magic, I guess. And kill her if he cannot get something out of her. But he, does or whatever, and then refers to her as his little lady in English. And I'm not going to do an offensive Japanese accent here, but you just imagine it in your head. It's really fucking funny.
It is very funny. What's funnier is that the screen goes all pink and they both get "let's make out" face, and it just slowly dials up the fucking Amber Alerts from there.
Gonna continue reminding y'all, she's 13. He's above 20. That's like his age is kept sort of vague, but like he's seems to have been in the game long enough to have had a history with this other character, so I'm putting him at least at 25. And honestly, he's older than 15, and this is weird.
So yeah, we're in a bad territory. When we did the fucking worst of list, I described Aromanga Sensei as a show by pedophiles for pedophiles. I'm gonna vacillate that one for Assassin's Pride, and that Assassin's Pride is a show made to put pedophiles to sleep because it's also fucking boring most of the time.
It is. I think almost it's almost kind of disappointing how boring it is, because I want this to be the sort of thing that makes me angrier when watching it, and it does to a point, but mostly I'm just wondering why it's not trashier, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, remember when we covered Domestic Girlfriend, right?
Right, yeah. We thought we were heading straight into that genre of madness by the descriptions of this show. And this one, everything is
mostly
very
they just sit around
lucid
not being
and
animated.
boring.
Yeah. And it's a shame, because when you get into the meat of it, it's all really entertainingly stupid. You kind of hope that there's less really fucking obvious breaks in animation. So like that thing that happens in, anime where they're not using their budget very intelligently, and you'll just have people kind of standing around stiff as a board for about like 3 to 8 seconds at a time, and then like the next shot is someone doing the same thing for 3 to 8 seconds, and they say at one another. There's a whole lot of that
There's a
in this
whole
show.
lot of that. There's a whole lot of accounting, rocking back and forth, saying we can't afford it. What the fuck are we gonna do? What the fuck are we gonna do, guys? And it's half of the reason that all of the fighting stuff in the show feels completely lifeless.
Oh, all the
other
fighting
half
in the
is
show
the
feels completely
situation
lifeless.
and the system and the. It's a really bad sign when all the context makes all your action worse.
So I've been trying to nail down exactly the line between an interesting application of in medias res, where there is a whole system behind this and they drop you into it and you're fine with it and it works for whatever reason, and this where they drop you into this big complicated, like battle magic fighting shonen seinen whatever the fuck system, and it doesn't work at all and it just feels tiresome.
Honestly, it might not even be the application of en medias res. Like, maybe the idea of using it is fine. It's just that the content isn't there behind it. Like, think about like foreshadowing instead of en medias res. It's foreshadowing is cool when you're foreshadowing something interesting. I don't know, setting of Star Wars or some bullshit. Here you foreshadow just more pederasty, and it's just gonna feel painful.
Now, this is going to frustrate me if I don't nail it down, right? Because you get a show like, I don't know, we were just watching Kill la Kill or whatever, right? And, as early as the first episode, our first 1-2 episodes, we started hearing about, like, life fibers and shit like that, right? Now, yes, I get that, like, Ryuko is being introduced to the idea of life fibers, as are we, and that probably helped somewhat because everyone in this setting seems to know everything about the setting already, and it's just the viewers, just sitting down in the classroom to learn.
It's interesting how stilted that makes the dialogue about the concepts, by the way. Like, the fact that everyone in this conversation knows about mana, but they are defining mana in encyclopedia terms for the slow children in the back, I guess. I know, it's very weird.
I think there's this way that the whole action plays out where, yes, they're explaining it to you, but oddly and paradoxically, they also seem to expect you to understand it already because, you've seen enough anime, you know how this works. This, it's the glowy magic, right? They say a thing, they start glowing purple or whatever.
It's like, come on, we're doing the Shaman King thing. You get it. Fuck you.
Ill-defined power or whatever, right? And it's like, it's exceedingly fucking boring and immediately turns you off to it, right? And then they explain it anyway. So I think
oh, God has left this place.
I think it's the laziness that has something to do with it. Like, it's there is no sort of attempt to create any sense of mystery or wonder, right? Like this, you're supposed to take so much of this setting and the things in it on faith.
I have a darker answer for you.
All right, go for it.
In terms of the balance of like fantasy execution elements to other content in this.
Mm-hmm.
Because, back in my edumacation, we talked a lot about, the mechanics of like your standard fantasy novel, how you drip things in slowly and constructing this world, building a certain type of momentum, a certain type of engagement. And this show puts that kind of effort in, but not into building the fantasy, but into slowly cranking up the dial on this guy banging this teenager. Sorry, preteen.
Preteen. We got.
It is far more invested in winter-May relationship building than it is in the mechanics of its fantasy setting.
It does seem like the mechanics of the fantasy are somewhat incidental to what you're all really here for, right, fellas?
Imagine Twilight with way worse goals and core audience. Like, instead of fucking harmless pandering to teenage girls.
I've just become aware of the audio commentary for Twilight on its DVD or whatever, and we were unfair to Rob Pattinson in 2008. We really were. That fucking guy, you should hear him just fucking shoot on this movie as he, collects a paycheck.
Dude, let's make a night of this. Can that be a Weeaboo Hell supplemental?
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. I think I had some fucking take about this, a while ago. How 2008 Sam would be utterly disgusted with 2020 Sam telling him that Robert Pattinson is now one of his favorite actors. Just like, oh, I knew you'd be a
Dude, if you think
sellout.
that's mean, 2008 Dennard would look at 2020 Dennard and say, you're only on phase 6. The operation demands a higher effort. Give me your pinky. I'm not giving a pinky. Cut it off. I'm not giving my fucking pinky. You need to learn. You need to be educated. You need to be disciplined. Look, kid, do you want like a White Claw, or what the fuck is a White Claw?
I wonder when exactly hard seltzer happened. Like when it not when it caught on, but when was the first hard seltzer?
That's a great question.
Had to have been sometime in the last decade, right? You know, the last half decade even.
You know, I don't have that time lined out. I know I bought one for the first time maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
I want to say maximum 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I was skeptical at first of the idea of a hard seltzer. And then, like, I embraced the idea of 100 calories and maybe the price is just, I feel kind of like a lame asshole when I'm getting drunk. But, like, I'm already a lame asshole, so...
I'm fine with being a lame asshole. I'm fine with being a lame asshole that weighs less. You only want so much of the world to be assholes of a lame variety. Otherwise, the whole world just smells like ass.
We've gotten off topic because this show is kind of boring, and that's like it's... No, it's not its greatest sin. The pedo shit is definitely its greatest sin.
Bronze medal on its list of sins is the boredom, I would say.
One other thing that I wanted to bring up about this thing is the fucking another part of the Sword Art Online / isekai influence on this. Like, even though this is not an isekai show, you could fucking smell the isekai on its breath.
Oh, you can see the fucking fang prints. It's like, you know how you can just find a werewolf by instinct in more interesting fantasy settings? Like, there's the Predator's taint in World of Darkness or whatever.
Yeah.
You can just smell the formalist taint of isekai on this one.
You can smell it on this one specifically because it has like a diegetic class system. Like, Kufa Vampire's class is samurai. Someone else's class is paladin. And they say this out loud. It's not like it's just a bit of text appears on the screen or whatever. They're like, no, this is something that is understood in world to be a thing.
Dude, I got so mad.
I'm trying to figure out how I can best illustrate how fucking damaging it is to a fantasy setting's believability when you start incorporating elements from interactive.
You know, people might give a shit for the word believability. I think the right term is engagement. Like, just your ability to play ball and enjoy what is happening. And whenever someone uses fucking diegetic RPG, I'm misusing the word diegetic, whatever. Whenever someone uses just hard RPG language in some kind of live passive media, it just completely risking out. Like, I understand for a second what it's like to be Jim Cornette watching most things.
Well, for me, it's like I'm kind of doused with ice water, right? And immediately, whatever I'm watching, whether it be isekai or not, it's not isekai, but it's isekai enough, right? That it immediately starts to feel like I'm just watching someone play a video game. And I hate that feeling, and I don't know why anyone wouldn't. And that's like one of the main reasons that isekai just does not fucking work for me or at all. Honestly, I'm gonna break my own rule here. I mean, I've already been breaking my own rules.
We have rules
because, well, one of my personal rules is to say not that it sucks, but that I don't like it. But no, isekai sucks. So does this. And.
I have no such rules. Part of the reason why
is because of that
isekai sucks, and so does this. For my fucking media values, it's the equivalent of the voice actors reading the parts of their script that are not their lines. Like, if they just started saying, INT, classroom. Kirito, a useless asshole that holds 2 swords, strides in, smiling for no good reason.
No, for me, it's a little bit that, certainly. And I think that's a good point right there. It's also this So here's the thing. When you include a class or mechanics system, right, in a show that is, decidedly not interactive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anime is a non-interactive medium. Unless, there was some fucking call-in thing like Death of a Family, or Death in the Family, but that to my knowledge has never happened. But even then, that's not interactive enough, right?
Right.
When you are dealing with an uninteractive medium or a non-interactive medium, and then you include elements that exist because of the fact that you're in an interactive medium. For instance, stats or a class system or shit like that, right? A mana meter, shit like that. And you include that in a non-interactive medium, you are making it feel like I am dealing with an interactive medium, but I'm not able to interact with it. So I am feeling very much like I am watching someone play a video game. That is kind of the point that I've been trying to make here this whole time. The isekai is watching someone play a fucking boring ass, like one of the lesser, Dragon Quest games, right? And when you include diegetic class systems, you're doing the same fucking thing.
Yeah, don't reduce your fucking anime to a fucking let's play a Final Fantasy 13.
And I hate these fucking bland "this is you" characters, so I do not feel like it's me playing this bland fucking Dragon Quest ass game. So you're not doing yourself any favors by having it be, bland everyman who all the girls want to fuck and he has a really cool power or stupid shit like that. Like it just makes it just you're actively working against engagement here.
If I could,
it pulls me out of it more and more and more.
If I could pull us away from the video game thing for a sec before we go to our next show, because I just want to talk about this during our time here.
Oh sure, yeah, this fucking show. Yeah, honestly, we're not doing this show justice. Like I think I got caught up on one thing, but there's a dozen more that we could have gone into too.
I just need to talk about how it's just drizzled in, and maybe I should say it was foreshadowed because Kufa Vampire is a vampire.
In fact, he's a half vampire.
He is a half vampire, and I started to choke and nearly die. So I respect this show on one level, in that it almost killed me, and that takes balls.
He's also a lycanthrope.
It's very important that he is an assassin, half vampire, part
samurai, lycanthrope. Like I love the list that you can kind of create with his fucking identity here. This show should be more entertaining than it is. This should be a great hate watch.
Like, honestly, this show could go from a hard 0.5 to a 3 or 4 if they just took the camera off the little girl ass for some time.
And they're loath to do that, by the way.
It's deeply
anytime they need to fill 5 seconds, like, they point the camera at this 13-year-old girl's ass, and I just sort of tried to politely look away from my laptop screen while we were...
Actually, if I can make a really gross point about this show...
Sure.
It's not as fixated on little girl ass as little girl center, like, flat chest. It's gross. It's bad.
It's real fucking gross, and if that's the reason that you were watching this show, then... I don't want to know you, and I hope you stop listening to us because I don't want you listening to us.